Looking for love, sweetheart.
Girl, have you come to the wrong place? My loving days have long since passed. But I'll tell you what, beautiful. You made an old girl smile, and that ain't easy.
Let me start off this review by stating that I was skeptical of Fallout 4. Incredibly skeptical. The rip-roaring hype train, the aggressive marketing, countless outlets being told to keep quiet, embargoes for embargoes, it all pointed to another Watch Dogs situation. Running on an incredibly outdated engine, not looking crisp as many would hope for. Was it about to let a large bunch of people down? After clocking up close to 40 hours in-game, I can happily report that my skepticism couldn't have been put more at ease. Fallout 4 is yet further proof that Bethesda really are some of the best in the business when it comes to an open-world RPG. Like many predecessors in the studio's critically acclaimed library, Fallout 4 isn't without its hiccups, weird bugs, texture clippings, and awful character faces. But rather than hinder the experience, it carries with it a certain charm. I'm not writing off these issues as being okay though. A game this long in production shouldn't suffer from most, if not all, of these issues. The further I progressed into Fallout's surprisingly stunning Boston wasteland, certain issues I initially had with the game, they began to disappear. It looks far prettier than any of the preview footage would lead you to believe, and even those fabled load times weren't a problem for me. Frame stutter is present, but highly infrequent, though it had a tendency to crop up at moments where you least want to be taken out of the immersion the world expertly creates. Enough with the minor quibbles though, and on to the good stuff. Fallout 4, more importantly than anything else, feels lived in. It feels full of secrets and hidden treasure. Admittedly not quite on par with Bethesda's Skyrim, but it's a damn close second. The most interesting aspect of the treasures and secrets for me is the fact that I want to find them. Each and every side quest leaves me with an air of intrigue, things I immediately think I need to come back to, or in some cases they entice me so much that I veer away from the quest at hand. This is how Fallout develops its time sponge, by having such well-crafted content dotted around a smaller but denser map. You don't feel that you're grinding for levels or experience like you could in other similar-natured RPGs. The game's main questline is one of the best in the series. It's paced incredibly and woven masterfully into different faction quests and happenings of the greater game world. It's broken down into very distinct segments, which only seem to grow in quality until a series high crescendo presents the player with the reason that we all play these games: a decision. The storytelling isn't the only element of Fallout 4 where players can get lost. Some newly present mechanics add hours to an already massive game, coming in the form of settlements and the crafting system. Everything in Fallout's post-nuclear Boston can be looted and used as a resource. Find a toy giraffe in the basement of an abandoned store? Well, that breaks down into a combination of screws and plastic. Smashed up bath? That's ceramic. Even useless weapons can be broken down, so those 6 10mm pistols you've acquired 10 hours into the game, they can become useful by being a resource in steel. Settlements are a great addition and allow you to create your own lived-in town in your own visual style. It has several layers of depth, and already the internet is full of some truly spectacular structures. Not only can you build environments, but you can build security in the form of turrets, which can be manned by new settlers. Settlers can also be assigned to tasks such as tending crops. The weapon and armor crafting is incredibly deep. Each part of each weapon has several upgrade options, from the receiver to the barrel, the grip, sights and magazines. Armor will let you temper different materials like leather or steel, and add pockets or buttons to grant different buffs. Not all of these options are available to you though, even if you have the resources, because they're locked behind a perk wall. The special system has seen what could be described as an overhaul or a dumbing down, depending on who you ask. 10 base stats exist as normal, and by leveling these stats you open options for different perks, and those perks in turn will have their own levels to increase the effectiveness. Each new perk or upgrade to an existing perk will cost you 1 skill point, and skill points are earned every time you level up. The system works well, and it's bolstered further by the fact that the game has no level cap. And speaking of leveling, the game's pacing certainly rewards you for the time spent in the wasteland. XP is distributed well, and each time you settle in for a play session you can expect a character's level to increase at least once. Main quests obviously carry the most XP, but the side quests and powerful monster kills that you gain can also be just as rewarding. Monsters do seem much more beatable in this iteration than previous. Super mutants do chug far less bullets, but don't worry, a Deathclaw is still a Deathclaw. Alpha, run. Savage, cry.
Yes.
VATS has returned with a few tweaks to improve the decision making, but it's still as rewarding as ever, and for the first time in a Fallout game, the shooting feels comfortable and fun, opposed to clunky and difficult to control as in previous iterations. All in all, I've been pleasantly surprised by Fallout 4. I never expected a bad game, but equally never expected it to be this good. The game's already zapped hours of my life, and I don't doubt that it's going to continue to do so in the years to come. Bethesda's games tend to hang around for a while. People still play Skyrim now because of the modding community. And I think with modding features coming to console early next year, we can expect Fallout 4 to be no different. On the 9th of November, I predicted that there was no way that Fallout 4 would be in contention for my Game of the Year. And by the 11th of November, I was eating my own words. Welcome home, Vault Dweller.